saying. Let me show you what I mean. Let me get a little bit more involved here. So I've got a, let me put my glasses on, and I'll just break this down for you really quick. I certainly don't mind showing people what I'm doing. In a way, I like Louis Rossmann. Well, I like Louis Rossmann because he does that. He repairs computers, and he has never had an issue showing people what he does. And I'm kind of the same way about this. I'm not that concerned about this. I'm doing something that other people have done, so it's not a big deal. That's about as good as I'm going to get. Let me get in here a little bit. Okay, there we go. So I've got, this is my inlet tube, right? I've got my attachment here for propane. This is just this for propane, but I'm building this for whatever fuel I want to run with it. This is an aluminum block that holds a mixing tube up in here. Let me get that a little better. I've got this sort of in the way. Everything is in the way. You can see there's a bit of an air gap on that little copper fitting between that and that mixing tube. And I actually cut some little, you can sort of see a serration on that mixing tube where it goes through that aluminum block. And the idea is that that's where I'm just bringing air in around that propane. And that was my, that gives me the adjustment that I need. I have got a number, I think it's a number 77 hole up on the top of this. What I did for this piece was I took a round piece of copper and I put it in the end of this, fitting, tightened it down, and I drilled that to a 77, which is tiny. It's probably maybe a third of a millimeter. What would that be in thousandths? I don't know. It was just tiny, tiny. So this is actually not a big boiler whatsoever, but it's not bad sized. I need to start somewhere. This is where I'm starting anyway. If I need to increase the air, this will slide up and down like so. It slides up and it will also slide back down. It's weird that it's a lot harder to slide it back down than it is to slide it up. But that's adjustable. This block is adjustable too. In fact, I probably at some point want to drill and tap this and put a set screw in. Yeah, vulnerable, I don't know, something like that. Maybe even do that over here, just to hold everything together, hold it where I want it to be. So that's my fuel delivery system. We come in here, we go to this spot here. There's an orifice here that's sized the way that I want it, that you can't see, but it's out of that piece of copper that I've just explained. It brings air in, mixes down here, or the air is pulled in down here, this little gap right here, and then this is a mixing chamber, and I've got this other flared fitting cap on here just to spread the flame out, so that the flame is roughly, it comes out just about as wide as that hole. So I really like all that I've got. And I've tested this for propane and it works really well. I'm getting a really nice, hot, clean flame. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to show you what I've got here. This is my cover. This is, by the way, heating right now. It's pretty hot. It has ceramic wool insulation in it, cap on the top, cap on the bottom. Let's see if I can show you the flame inside of here. I don't think you can see. Oh yeah, you can see it. So yeah, good deal. I can't see it, my camera can. I did open the top here. I just want to make sure I don't burn my camera. You can see that blue flame in there, and there's a bit of a baffle. I wanted to make a helix. It's actually a helix, but it's a very low resolution helix. It basically bent. It didn't twist. It folded, but it's working. So it's getting the flame where it needs to be. This little piece goes into that screw hole right there, and it just caps off the top of that, the interior portion, thereby making the flame actually go to the outside. So that's my big baffle. It's actually not too big of a baffle. There are spaces in between that coil. The coil is pulled apart so that there is reasonable air. What I want laminar flow around every bit of the coil. All right, so I've put my little dude together. And you can see I'm running about 7 volts. Let me turn that down to about 4 volts. Yeah. Okay. Just to show you what's going on. So I've got a small flame in there. I put my little damper, I guess I could call that a damper, on, so you can't quite see the flame in there, but it's obviously there. We're creating steam. So what I've got going on here, I'll just start to this side. A Kleenex. This is my power supply right now. I'm just running a very small amount of water into the system. This yellow line is my intake, and it's running up through a one-way valve and a one-way valve. And there's the piston pushing it through, sucking it in, pushing it out. I have my overflow, or my overpressure protection, covered up with this so that if it does blow, it will not hurt me. This is my pressure gauge, which I haven't connected yet. I just wanted to make sure that it's working before I even bother. And what I've done, my output runs up through here and comes up to this T. And what I can do is I can open this T. I'm not going to open it right now because I'll get steam through there. Well, I guess I could. If I open that, I'll actually get steam. But you can see right there. I'm not building pressure in the system right now, so that's why you didn't see any steam. But that allows me to pump water into the system until it drips out here. That way I know I've got water up to here, and then I know that I'll have water coming into here, which we do have. And that you can see. Well, let me finish this. So coming down through here is my coil, which, as you know, is basically this. That's what I have inside of here. I just have it surrounded by insulation and a little. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're getting back into it. No, very tiny amounts of water. But I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to run this first just to make sure everything worked before I go to the trouble of building a pressure sensor and a temperature gauge for it, which will be my next step. Obviously, that is condensation. That's coming out in the form of steam. I'm not sure how hot my stack is, but now that I know that I've got this going, let me crank up the volts a little bit to speed up the water delivery. Go to about 6 volts here. So that adds maybe 20% to my, yeah, as you can see, we're getting a little more condensation. We're getting very little water, which is great to see. I'd like to see just all condensation. That way I know that everything is being turned into steam. But I also, let me grab something. Let me set that there. That's better, yeah. So what I've got here is a system that's creating mainly steam. That is obviously hot. It should be hot. We've got, I mean, very little. You can see I'm holding my hand about 6 inches above the outlet of this. So the heat is really being transferred well into the steam, which is really what I want. I mean, that's what needs to happen. Not just something that I want, but what really does need to happen. Yeah, so let me just describe this one more time. So this is my voltage. This is the power for this engine. The reason that I'm using an electric pump is because I would rather use a steam pump, but right now I need a test, a little test rig, and that's what this is. And this allows me to pump in a gigantically different amount of water. Like I can crank this thing up to 40 volts. This motor is a 24 volt motor, but I could probably push it if I really wanted to. The cool thing about steam is that you can see my little piston is almost like an 049. It's under half of an inch in diameter, which is funny. It's like a little Cox engine when I was a kid. It was the first cool little engine I got was an 049 engine. I think it was in a dune buggy. That didn't steer, you just turned it and it ran. But so that's got about a 3/4 of an inch stroke on it. I think, something like that. A half an inch. And we're running about, let's just count. This is 6 volts. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008. So we're running about 1 stroke every 8 seconds. So 8 strokes a minute, something like that. And we're getting a good amount of steam. It's looking really good. So let me go ahead and turn the power up a little bit more. Let me go to 9 volts. Okay, so we're still turning everything into steam at this point. We'll still have plenty of excess heat out here. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty good. I thought I'm getting ready to stop for the day down here, but wanted to show you where this is at. So I have tested this guy as you have seen. I have been waiting to get some measuring devices over here. I needed to put them in a box. They were loose. So this bottom one is a nice little Weka pressure. Actually, it's a Weka display, but it also is a controller. And this one on top is an Omega display, and it's also a controller. And I've got 2 relays in each one of these things. So as I progress through this will be a pretty cool thing to do, because if I need to trigger something, I can trigger it, get the proper thing to trigger it with, and that will allow me to figure out how I want to automate this thing if I need to automate it. And it's like anything else. I mean, it needs to have some things that it would be nice if it would just take care of, if they would take care of themselves. So, but like I said, I'm setting this up so that I can do some good research and design. And so that'll be really helpful to have that little guy. I operated it one more time, kind of got the feel for where it's at for the orifice that I'm using in it, and I've tightened up some of my fittings. I need to take this fitting off and tighten it better. Anyway, Yeah, so that's my update. My update on this, and I mean, if you're interested in this project, check back. I'll get it worked out a little better. But that was a big deal to get this box done. I still need to connect it. I've got a plug that I need to connect to my both things, and I also have a thermocouple. Well, I'll see what I want to do with that. I have some thermocouples that I could use. I really don't know where I want to take measurements, and I have other temperature gauges also, but this temperature gauge is a nice one because it does have, like I said, it's programmable and it has 2 relays in it. Anyway, if you like this video, if you want to like it, like it. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. If you don't want to, don't. Because I don't want to tell you what to do, man. And I don't want you to tell me what to do either. But I guess if you wanted to, you could put that in the comments. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up for the weekend. This is where I'm at. I'm pleased that I got it working, and we'll just continue from there. So I'm going to go edit this video and probably go take a nap or something fun.